Hey guys, Peter von Panda here. I have a straight from Korea smartphone holder that fits into the CD slot on your car, or presumably anything else. Can't tell you much except it says 2014 and CD at the top and it says made in Korea. The reason I picked this up and I thought I'd give it a little try is because, as you know, I've reviewed other smartphone holders that fit into your CD slot, because I don't really use the CD slot particularly. But the cool thing about this versus many other mounts is that it doesn't have anything hanging off the bottom. So you put this mount into your CD slot, and if your CD slot is above the controls on the radio or a display, you don't have anything like an adjustment or tightening screw below blocking that. And I'll show you as I put it into the car. First thing I can tell you is it just uses, like that other mount, 3 paddle flaps like this that are slightly offset to create pressure. So when you put it into the slot, these will kind of hold it in place fairly securely. It looks like this is on a little metal spring plate, so you can kind of bend that down if you need just a little more pressure. The other cool thing about this over the other one is that the ball joint here works kind of like a gimbal, in that I've loosened this up. You've got a lot more play with the angle, etc., etc. And in fact, the screw which tightens everything up is on a sleeve which also rotates, so you can kind of get this sucker in a lot more of an exact position and then screw it into place. The other one has some settings that kind of click it into place when you rotate it laterally, and when you're turning it to get your orientation. Sometimes it's not just perfect because you don't have that kind of infinite adjustment. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and, when it's in the slot, you kind of want your phone angled a little towards the driver and up a little. So I'm just going to do that right now. Tighten it in. Pretty simple. It kind of stays there. It's not going to adjust until you unscrew the screw here. The other thing I'll note is that it does expand, and actually both sides come out. You can see that they've got an arm on the top and bottom, spring-loaded. So that's kind of nice because your device will stay relatively centered. A lot of them, including the one I currently use, only one side moves, and so if you're using a large device, that's going to move it off center just a little bit. The most striking thing here is that these sides are covered in what appear to be a silicone textured edge. They seem to kind of just be on there, and I don't know if they're glued, but they're not the easiest thing to get off. In fact, I'm not making any progress getting them off, so I wonder if they have a little bit of glue on the inside. Obviously, they're angled in just a little bit, so if you've got something in there pressed against the back, and this back is a little bit of rubberized too, you can kind of see it. So it's soft. You don't have to worry about scratching. It's not very grippy. It's very smooth and dry. So it's not it's not meant to really hold anything in place. Just more to protect your phone or device from getting scratched. But these look like they're going to hold this sucker in place. They're angled a little towards the back, so it's going to press it towards your car dashboard a little bit. The only thing is the fact that they're white kind of makes them pop a little bit, and that makes it look a little less sleek and subtle than the other mount. But I can see this having a lot of advantage. One of the things that I'll show you is that you can also download an app so that your phone works like a dashboard cam, so it kind of keeps recording on a loop, kind of like a security camera. And sometimes when I've done that, because I want to take some video, I'm passing some houses, I'm passing a car, I'm doing a road rally, something fun where I kind of want to capture video, and then I want to stop at certain points to capture to keep the last image. My mount is not very easy to adjust into a new position that is not only away from me, but is straight, and then sometimes is trying to angle that camera up. This is no problem, and you just loosen it up, get it into any bloody position you want, and tighten that sucker back. Because on mine, you've got to unscrew the base a little to get that loose, so you can get it angled this way. You've got to try to you have to get all those things into position before you tighten it down, and etc., etc. So we'll throw this in the car. We'll use it for a few days and we'll see how I like it. And one of the first things I can tell you is that when it came, as I talked about, these offset flapper paddles need to have a decent amount of offset in order to kind of lock it in place on the CD player. When I noticed that I put it in the first time, these probably weren't offset far enough to really create a nice grip. So I had to kind of push this top piece out. You know, you can push it up or down either way to create a little bit more offset. So it's just a little metal plate there. So you want to make sure that there's enough of an offset that when you push it in to the CD slot, it's kind of gripping the slot enough, and then you can just push it in, no problem. Goes in very nicely. And one thing I like, and one thing I learned that I don't really like, is the first thing that I love is that you untwist the screw here, and then you pretty much have full range of motion on this mount, so you can kind of angle it right towards you. Sorry, one-handed, it doesn't make it for the easiest thing in the world. And then tighten it down, and it's going to stay in that position, so you have really an infinite positioning. The thing I don't like is if you use an iPhone of any sort, really, because they're all the same width, the mount is too wide. It's just barely too wide, probably about 1/4 of an inch, really. It probably needs to be 1/2 an inch to produce a good grip. And so that's why part of these the silicone side sleeves are so large. Now, if you're using something like a Galaxy Note or something with a 5-inch screen or bigger, then it's probably going to be perfect. I even tried, as you can see, putting it in sideways in landscape, and the problem is it produces so much pressure on these, you kind of torque the mount out. I love the design. I certainly wish I had this kind of ball joint on the mount that I currently use, but that the mount itself were narrower to work with an iPhone. You know, but like things like HTC One, most of the Samsung Galaxies, and the larger version will probably work. The Nokia, I'm sure, the Lumias will work because those things are monstrous. But just keep in mind, I couldn't test it driving around. I'm sure it seems like it'll stay in place as good as my other mount, and it seems like these things are grippy enough that you don't have to worry about anything falling out. But just keep in mind, if you're an iPhone user, at least in this version until the iPhone 6 comes out, ain't gonna work. Panda out.